It's been an adventurous day, and there's not a lot of action for doing Instacart at the moment, which is one of my side hustles. So, and it doesn't pay that well, honestly, most of the time anyway, anymore. Uh, so I'm taking it easy. Finally, I have a little bit of time to sit down and start working on gathering at least some footage for a new finds and treasures video. So it's going to be kind of disjointed because I've shot some footage before this already. I did a killing in a really amazing thrift haul a while back with a bunch of compact discs that I paid 25 cents a piece for. So I've photographed that. I've got a small stack of 45s up there from a grab bag that I need to photograph. I already photographed one stack from a grab bag prior to that. That they turned out okay. They're pop stuff, but they're in good shape and they were fun. And I've had several good hauls in thrift with some Blu-rays and with some LPs. So I figured I'd start out with that. First off, Blu-rays, because I told people I would everybody, I like movies. I want to bring movies more into doing this as a collector too. And I really have become fond of collecting 3D Blu-rays. Even though it's considered a dead format for the most part, you can only get projection TVs for it now. You have to use either a gaming system or find a used Blu-ray player. And I did a video a while back where I explained that I wanted a 3D TV for years. I got one, and then when the situation I was in before fell apart, I had it for all of 1 week and got to see one movie on it, which was one of the Resident Evils. And then I no longer had that set in my life. And folks that know me know that I do stereoscopic photography as a hobby, that I've collected the comic books. I like anaglyphs and all kinds of neat things. 3D is something that I'm very interested in. So at this point, I've managed to, from predominantly thrifting, gather up somewhere in the neighborhood of not quite 120 Blu-rays, 3D Blu-rays. And so I have a recent small haul. But I got some really good goodies in this bunch. And I have one that is coming on the way that I don't think is official. It says it's region free with a Spanish cover. I suspect a Mexican press. I'm waiting for an Amityville 3D that's coming in the mail. And I found that online for $5 and shipping. And I just know that I'm not going to see a deal like that again. So hopefully it gets here in good working order, and it literally is region free. It says ABC on the back of the artwork. So let's hope that the Panasonic 3D Blu-ray player that I picked up for 15 bucks from Marketplace actually will trigger and read it, because I can't play it. I've got an international deck, but I can't use it to play 3D stuff, unfortunately. I found this movie, Exodus, Gods and Kings, and I think it's a Ridley Scott, so I'm not too familiar with it. I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to that. I like epic things, sword and sandal, peplum, all of that, so it's probably going to be pretty cool. Has a pretty big cast. Also Pompeii, which this will be the third movie I've gotten on the topic of Pompeii. I've got a couple of very old Italian ones, one actually directed by Steno, which I think is pretty cool. And these are the ones that excited me most. I found, and this one's another one of the prints that says it's made in Mexico, but it worked out well. Harold and Kumar, very 3D Christmas. This movie is lewd, rude, crude, socially unacceptable, just like the other two Harold and Kumars, and it's absolutely hilarious. These guys were kind of a modern age Cheech and Chong when they were paired up together. Both of them are actually brilliant actors. Both of them are incredibly intelligent guys. That Cal Penn actually worked with the Obama administration at one point. Who would imagine? And he's just an incredibly bright and gifted actor. Both of them are. And it's a very, very funny movie, but absolutely not acceptable for kids. Coming at you. Poster on the wall over there. You see it in most of my videos at some point. And its companion, actually on the wall over there. Its companion over there, Treasure of the Four Crowns. I had a petition going for Treasure of the Four Crowns when Kino Lorber finally released it. This one came first. Same director, same cast pretty much. Doesn't have a Morricone score, but has a similar style score. It's a spaghetti western. and it is absolutely preposterous and a little bit extreme. This one's more of an R-rated film, but it's still pretty cool and has some great exciting moments. And I shouldn't say but behind R-rated film, because I like really excessive movies some of the time. I just kind of think but in the back of my head, because I'm trying to look out for folks that, like the lady of the house, would not watch this. She would probably watch Treasure of the Four Crowns if she thought it would be entertaining, because it's more like a Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. But she has her limits, and this bypasses those limits of good taste. It's basically a bunch of excuses to do this a lot. Yeah, those two movies. And lastly, I'm in the middle of it now, so it's not even in the case. I had to walk away from it earlier just because I had interruption of other things that had to be done. Classic. It Came from Outer Space, sci-fi B-movie masterpiece released by Universal Pictures. Not really a B-movie, I guess it was an A-list movie for them at the time. The cinematography and the 3D in this is more on par with the quality of what they're doing now. A lot of these 80s films, they're a lot of fun, and it was a great revival of 3D as a trend, but the cinematographers during that period didn't really seem to have as good a handle on how it was that they needed to photograph things to make the pop-out screen effects go too overboard where they no longer became effective, or how to align their shots properly for the maximum 3D comfort, and not having issues with there being artifacts in either eye view. So honestly, Coming At You suffers from that quite a bit, but it's still very entertaining. It Came from Outer Space. I'm not seeing really any problems with that at all, except for some aerial, kind of almost stock looking shots at the beginning of it. Just going over landscapes and viewing surrounding areas of establishing shots of the landmass, more or less, but from a helicopter. Everything else in it's been just really beautifully matched for 3D, and there's like really simple shots, like main character looking through a telescope, and he turns and brings it into camera. It's at about a 45-degree angle like this, and it looks like it's protruding a couple of feet out into the room. So that is an exploitative shot, but it works very well even with your eyes resting on it for a lengthy period of time. It doesn't become a distraction. It's just a nifty shot. All right, moving on, because I've got the CDs that I'll cover later on. Thrifting and a little bit of bargaining on eBay. Mixture back and forth, so I'm not going to say where either of them came from. One, I had recently found Billy Thorpe's Children of the Sun, one of those records that change your childhood because of its conceptualization. It not only jams, but it has a story to tell, and it's just such a fun record. Well, he did a sequel that has bigger production, doesn't seem to be as well remembered, but I actually like it more, even if it is a rehash. Just it has such an enormous sound, and that's 21st Century Man. And I got that on eBay. I think it was like, I paid 99 cents in shipping for the lot, with another Billy Thorpe album here, which I haven't had a chance to check out yet, called Stimulation. So that was a bargain. In both of these, there's a tiny bit of sleeve wear, a little ring wear here, but the records are in beautiful condition. In Thrift, I got this Westwood One radio broadcast off the record specials with Mary Turner.
The members of Toto are some of the most sought-after studio musicians in the country. They've composed, arranged, and performed with Pink Floyd, Steely Dan, Jackson Browne, Bruce Springsteen, Elton John, and many others. David Page says even though they've been doing it for years, they can still get a charge out of doing a session.
I had the pleasure of working with Paul McCartney for the first time. Me and Jeff and Steve Lukather for a Michael Jackson album. Paul McCartney had written a song for Michael Jackson, and it was us playing with Steve Porcaro, myself, Lukather, Jeff, and Louis Johnson.
Four-side program. There's no cue sheet in there, so I had to actually spin it up just to find out who I was getting in it when I got it home. But I paid 99 cents for this. And, the record's got markings on it with a little bit of stickering and stuff because a disc jockey somewhere was archiving these things, I guess. But the records look exactly like what I suspect happened. They were played once for broadcast, then sleeved, put on a shelf, and let be. So that's a real steal. Those things are sometimes really pricey. I got this military one at the same time, which is just, I haven't seen what song is on there yet, but it's a pop song of the week basically for 6 different marketplaces nationally, provided by the federal government and public service by United States Army. And it says these are lock groove tracks separated. 5-minute version for Copenhagen, Montreal, actually 5 locations. Luxembourg, Mexico City, and Sydney, Australia. But it doesn't say on there who's on it, so I haven't had a chance to spin it yet. Could be anybody. Found an 80s Rhino Royale, and you're probably wondering which variant. It's the pinkish multicolor, and it's really beautiful. Also 99 cents. And I mean, it's minty. So 101 Kazoos and Barnes & Barnes and Pencil Neck Geek by Fred Blassie in minty condition on that beautiful record for 99 cents. I can't beat that. That was really exciting to find. Also, found this Anthony Phillips LP, 99 cents. Isn't that thing absolutely beautiful? That is a wonderful picture disc. And it is in the original sleeve. I'd say it's a really strong, very good plus. So happy find there. Found a Pop Will Eat Itself, and the Be Italian Exploitation Nut in Me appreciates this one. They're kind of a club dance project out of UK. And song on here is called Cicciolina. Cicciolina has a cult following, was an Italian, I'm going to have to, hopefully I don't get kicked around on YouTube for using this word, porn actress that was popularized in the 80s and 90s and wound up running for office and becoming a member of parliament or something like that in Italy. And my understanding is she immediately gave away nude photos of herself to all the other government officials in office. So the only line on the whole song is Cicciolina for Italia, repeated over and over again. But it's a nice little jam, and it's just kind of a funny thing. Got a kids record, and these I got for $0.25. Got Peter and the Wolf, narrated by Basil Rathbone. It's Tubby the Tuba and Pan the Piper. It's actually not in terrible shape. I don't think it's an original press. It's earlier press, but it's not original press. But 25 cents! 25 cents for Janis Joplin. Are you kidding me? And that's not all. This one, the record's in good shape. I don't know what happened to the corner here, but that's the only really serious damage. Some Jefferson Starship. 25 cents. This one, I paid $1 for. It's a Mondo on colored wax. I think it's blue. I have no idea about the movie, but dig this. I'll find out about the movie. It's a short film. It's actually included on a DVD inside the gatefold. And I'm always going to buy a Mondo or a Death Waltz record. Cannot beat that. Beautiful thing. This one, I actually did give up $5 for, just because I checked the records and they were in good shape, and it was actually in a mom and pop shop that I went to and checked out, and it was just nice to have one in my collection again. All 3 LPs are in there with the fold out. Very nice. So I'm not going to walk away from having Emerson, Lake and Palmer in my collection. A Best of Buddha compilation. I did not know these compilations really existed or were out there until I saw one on Cosmic Brian's Cosmic Vinyl channel. And when I spotted the cover and immediately sight recognized it in Thrift, and the record's in, I'd say, a strong, very good plus. 99 cents coming home with me on that one. Oh, and this is another one of the 25-cent ones. Record strong, very good plus. Have a little bit of a cheesecake cover there. Kind of an exotica record, so win, win, win. I am expecting in the mail the 7 Doors of Death by Mitch and Ira Yusbeth. That is a record store day release, and I'm very, very excited about that. What that is, if anybody's familiar with this movie, let me go ahead and grab it off the shelf. Lucio Fulci, The Beyond. And so I have this tin because the cover that I did in collaboration with a former music partner, Azra Medea, appears on here in the supplemental section with some stills and things, released by Grindhouse Releasing, Bob Morawski, and Bob and also Sean over at Ibon Press have collaborated to put together this 7 Doors of Death LP. And what it is this is the traditional version of the movie, as it was released around the world and was not available in stateside until this version was released by Grindhouse. It was scored by Fabio Frizzi. And so it's this really great sort of mashup progressive rock orchestra choir score. There's a droning electronica alternate score by Mitch and Ira Yusbeth that was released by a company out of New York City. And I mean, I've got a print of the 7 Doors version here, and there's a 6-disc set that Bob is about to release that's going to have a fully restored version of that. But it also includes, he's got this soundtrack out on the LP now that was by Mitch and Ira Yusbeth for that version. And that version was cut a little bit shorter. It had some alternate footage kind of spliced into it, and it was toned down on the violence to secure an R rating at the time, basically. A lot of Italian films would play unrated, but that kind of relegated them to independent houses, and they sometimes were not permitted to take out advertising on television stations, radio, or in the newspapers for unrated films from some companies. So getting an R rating helped to ensure that a picture might have a better shot at some box office. So when they purchased these films from abroad, they would sometimes censor them a little bit in order to achieve that. If it made it too jumpy, they would do a full rescore as well. And that's basically what had happened to The Beyond. Well, that score, for whatever it is the first version that I encountered with this movie and fell in love with it. So on this, I'm collaboratively working with somebody on playing a cover version of the Fabio Frizzi score. But the Fabio Frizzi score isn't the first version I was covering. I actually used to sit down and play that Mitch and Ira Yusbeth score on synthesizer for Something to Do, because that was the first version of the movie that I saw and the version of the movie that I fell in love with. And so I still have a very strong sentimental attachment to that version. So I'm very excited about this new record store release that is the first time that that's appearing on vinyl. Speaking of record store day releases, Banana Joe. So that's kind of cool. Bud Spencer. It's another Steno movie. Really pretty 45. This is Guido and Maurizio De Angelis, also known as Oliver Onions, between the two of them. Really beautiful 45. So I'm very excited about that one too. This is going to be a favorite among some of my favorite pieces in my collection, especially among the Eurotrash soundtracks and stuff. It's quite a unique little piece, and I'm glad that Beat Records put this one together. It's a very nice single. And this just arrived. I've had this record in my life since the 90s. I discovered it when a friend started turning me on to Italian prog other than Goblin and the film composers. This is Premiata Forneria Marconi's The World Became the World. This is limited to 500 copies on blue vinyl that was released in 2018. And it is a very pretty pressing. Has the original inner sleeve with Peter Sinfield's alternate lyrics, and is on a really nice light blue vinyl. If I can get it to roll out of there. The sleeve's a little tight. There we go. This is a beautiful progressive art rock album. I would not hesitate to recommend it to anyone. Peter Sinfield was a dynamite lyricist. There's some really deep, heavy stuff in the poetry that's within this album. And the music just, it carries you places. It's a really, really fantastic record. So I haven't even spun this one yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that tonight. So that wasn't the end of the vinyl. And before I go moving into other snippets and tidbits with the CDs and with the 45s, I have another stack of vinyl that came out of the 25-cent lot. And I think it's pretty interesting. Actually, this one, I found another one of those When Radio Was Kings. This was a guy that was trying to sell a massive lot of about 1,500 records online through Facebook Marketplace, and I just dropped by on my way home from work one night, and I gave him like $2.50 for it, you know, and the record's in minty condition, but I mean, these things are not costly, so you can pick them up for $1 or $2 in Thrift, but I saw it, I wanted it. He asked $2.50 versus $1. I wasn't going to leave empty-handed. I mean, he opened the door to me and let me in his house and let me dig through piles of junk. And if I came away with that and one other thing, great. The other one thing I found is not in great shape. The sleeve is badly split, but I grabbed this Disney just because it's a religious record and I haven't seen it before. So I'm going to do a little bit more digging on it, and I'll probably do something to just try to preserve the sleeve art and keep it around. It's Mary Martin reading. And it's a nativity story, so it's kind of cool, you know, especially for a Disney collector, because I can tell that one's very obscure. I haven't ever run across one. This one was the 25-cent bin, and this was a place that I found near the Fort Lauderdale airport that was an independent mom and pop store. I just spent like I was stuck over there for about 4 hours waiting for flights, because no sense if I'm down there and I've dropped somebody off at the airport and I got to pick somebody up at the same airport 4 hours later. I could get into the company vehicle, burn a bunch of gas, and drive an hour and a half back, spend 1 hour on my time doing whatever I like, and then drive an hour and a half back. Or I can save wear and tear on their vehicle, get paid the time for that anyway, and just hang out. So that's when I'll try to find a thrift store very, very close by where I don't put mileage on their vehicle and just stay put. And I came across this thrift store that had thousands of LPs for $0.25 a piece and CDs, and that's where that massive stack of CDs you'll see coming up later on came from. So this record is a replacement. It's the London Treasury of Mussorgsky's pictures at an exhibition in Tchaikovsky 1812, and it's conducted by Stokowski. The reason why I really appreciate this was probably my favorite classical LP for the very long period of time. So I was very pleased to find a downright minty disc in there and replace it. People look at things and go, yeah, it doesn't matter who conducts. Yes, very much so. It does. If you've ever seen the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he comes out and he pulls back the powdered hair, and he's looking really stern, and he's standing in front of the orchestra, and everybody goes, Leopold, Leopold. That was kind of making fun of Stokowski, because he was known to be very, very rough on his musicians, in that he was looking for only the best, and he was not somebody that necessarily was going to be doing a lot with modifying an arrangement so much as how are we addressing those time signature changes in a classical work that brings forth the most dramatic qualities in it. So you listen to pictures at an exhibition and it starts going into something like the gnome or whatever, and you just hear da 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 bum bum. Or you have the Stokowski version. and it's tight. It's like Metallica, chug, 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 mute, tight. Everything he did was super tight and was hitting with power like that. And so his recordings are very, very dramatic. That is why he was the one that was chosen to do the original Fantasia score, because he was the best, the very, very best. Golden Avatar, Change of Heart. Think it's prog. It's not too uncommon. I saw there were 5 or 6 different versions. I think it's kind of a light, folky prog kind of thing. And 25 cents. This one I think I'll have to clean up a bit before I can play it, but it's not in terrible shape. Gilda Radner, live from New York. And it's not Saturday night. It's actually a live show she did incorporating the Saturday night characters. Anytime I see a version of Peter and the Wolf with somebody cast in it I don't have, I'm going to grab it. Turns out this one was not that common. Peter and the Wolf, Boris Karloff. Awesome find. Very excited about that one. The Wiz. This is not the film version. This is not the Broadway version. This is before it got picked up for Broadway. This is the first version. So that's really cool. And Ted Ross was already the lion in it. So that's cool too. So be checking that out soon. And this one I'm very excited about. Another radio program. This one actually came from the other lot, so it was 99 cents. This is radio airplay only. Dialogue and conversation with Roger Daltrey, Elton John, Anne Margaret, Pete Townsend, and director Ken Russell on the movie production of Tommy to promote its release. Show would have a runtime of 1 hour with ad stop spots and all of that. It's probably about 40 minutes on this disc as it goes. And like the other radio broadcasts, it looks like it's been played once to put it on the air. So that should be very exciting too. From here, I'm going to go into clips that I already shot of CDs. And oh no, wait. I got the other grab bag of 45. So here's one of the grab bags of 45s. Disappointment, picture sleeve, did not have the record in it. Oh well. Cheap Trick, Dream Police. That's all right. I got Maria Mulder, Midnight at the Oasis, and Any Old Time. These are all actually in really perfect condition too. Ray Stevens, Misty, and Sunshine. This is one of the rare occasions that he put out a single that didn't have any funny on it. We got a Dr. Hook, Let Me Be Your Lover, and Only 16. This one is America, Sister Golden Hair, and Midnight. Leo Sayer, Living in a Fantasy, and Only Foolin'. A little bit of disco here. Hey There Little Firefly, parts 1 and 2. Doobie Brothers, Taking It to the Streets. 10cc, Art for Art's Sake, and Get It When You Can. Sweet, Action, and Medusa. Hot Chocolate, You Sexy Thing. April Wine, Sign of the Gypsy Queen. April Wine you can never go wrong with. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Gratitude, and Can't Hide Love. Yeah, there were a number of Columbia Red Label styrenes in here. Eddie Money, 2 Tickets to Paradise, and Don't Worry. And Styx, oddly single pulling from 2 different albums. Mr. Roboto on the A side and the B side is Snowblind. And why it's in a collectible sleeve, I guess that's what they had available to stick it in, but at least they kept it sleeved and it's in superb condition. So that's cool. That works for me. In the middle of all this, I also fleshed out my collection of Brother Dave Gardner stand-up albums. I think I found 3 or 4 in that 25-cent lot that I didn't have yet, which I think there's maybe 2 LPs that he did that I do not have at this point. And they're so easy to find on the cheap, at least in this part of the country. You know, being in South Florida, it seems like they turn up frequently here, and I saw them frequently in Jacksonville when I was a kid growing up. So They're an easy pickings kind of thing. If you're not familiar with this stuff, it's sort of a Southern fried beat sense of humor. And yeah, it's fun stuff. He looks kind of like an evangelical on the covers. Like what if Jim Baker was standing there in front of you but with a cigarette? That kind of thing. But they're a lot of fun. All right, let's see if it was a happy thrift store day. Got a Dion and the Belmonts on collectibles. It's on black vinyl. Another collectibles. I hope these are all. This one's a Beach Boys. These are all looking nice and minty. Sometimes collectibles turn up in colored vinyl, so I'm hopeful. Because I love some colored vinyl. Everybody knows that. Another Dion and the Belmonts. The Flirtations. We got a few different doo-wop things here. MCA, what do we got on MCA? A Skinner Saturday Night Special. And Made in the Shade. Alright. Not one of my favorites, but... Well, we got a Rolling Stones that looks like it's a label misprint. Look at that. Yeah, because it should be like that. Wingin' a Prayer Record Company, Babyface, Wingin' a Prayer Fife and Drum Corps. That's a very strange thing. It's weird! There's Diana Ross. So far, I consider myself already having won. This is a good haul. Wasn't wrong about you. Trunk? Judd Trunk? Strunk. Okay. Probably country. I don't know. Stevie Wonder. Sir Duke. And he's Mr. Know-It-All that's misspelled. Mistra. I'll double check and see if it's supposed to be that way. I don't think so. Tony Camillo's Bazooka. Dynamite Parts 1 and 2. The Shaka Khan. Dang, I had it bad for her. Apparently clear to see why. Alright. Little Drummer Boy. Harry. Okay. We got Perry Como. Buck Owens. Santa looked a lot like Daddy. Isn't that called I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus? Same plot. Al Martino. So some of this is like, meh. Merle Haggard. Glenn Campbell. And the Crystals and the Ronettes. Split. Okay. It's a win. Okay, first got some Squirrel Nut Zippers, nice swing. Quiet Riot on the original Pasha. This I think is the first disc run. It's before they put in all that unnecessary compression. I thought this Polar Express is kind of neat. It's read by Liam Neeson. Who exactly would expect that? So that's kind of a cool thing. This is a Disney comp of music from Pixar films that I hadn't seen before and didn't know was around, so that's an immediate grab. And some John Williams. I think this is more of an art house film. I haven't seen it, but hey, 25-cent soundtrack album. That's cool. I've got Disney's Enchanted. If you haven't seen this movie, it's a really nice mashup of live action and animation. It's absolutely hilarious. Bob Rivers Comedy Troupe, the first Twisted Christmas album. Rest in peace, Bob Rivers. He passed away shortly ago. Really, really hilarious comedy Christmas carols. Life of Pi soundtrack. Honestly, I didn't like this film very much, and I don't remember the music much, but 25 cents, probably a win. Grabbed this because I like some Don Bluth things. I haven't seen Thumbelina, but I haven't seen this CD anywhere before, so for a quarter, who could lose? Anna Russell is kind of a satirist of opera, and it's along the lines of PDQ Bach's sort of sense of humor. I found 2 of her albums here and thought that was pretty great. I haven't seen those around on CD before. I already have this on LP, In Search of the Lost Chord, Moody Blues, but this was actually factory sealed when I grabbed it, so definitely for a quarter I'm going to snatch that one up. Joe Jackson looking sharp, and he's got the time, so got some really cool punk there. Pink Floyd, Final Cut, everybody knows what that is. Oedipus Text, Nether Calamities, that is some great PDQ Bach. I absolutely love PDQ Bach, the Weird Al of classical music. Thank you, Peter Schickley, for that. And Enigma, I got 2 Enigma albums while I was there, Enigma 2 and Enigma 3. That's really great stuff. I don't really know what kind of category it falls under genre-wise. And the soundtrack to Island of Dr. Moreau, which was sadly butchered, but a cool movie still. Anthrax, Attack of the Killer B-sides, and Judas Priest, British Steel. Hey, I think I made a killing this time. Some amazing CDs for 25 cents a pop. I'd do that again any day. That is it. Been having fun with fam on a little song, so I'm going to reference it back to you. Eep, op, work, ah, ah. See you real soon.